Inside every one of us are seeds of incredible potential. At Water Your Seeds, you'll discover practical tools, timeless wisdom, and inspiring stories to help you grow your mind, strengthen your body, enrich your spirit, build lasting wealth, and create a life of purpose. Water your seeds and watch your life flourish. Most people see the champion. They see the power. They see the knockouts. They see Francis Ngannou standing under the bright lights with the UFC heavyweight belt wrapped around his waist. But what most people don't see is the little boy in Cameroon who went to sleep hungry, the child who worked in sand mines when he should have been in school, the boy who owned almost nothing, walked barefoot, and once kept the same toothbrush for years because there was no money for another one. They don't see the long nights, the rejection, the hunger, the desert, the fear, the moments where survival itself became the fight. Before Francis Ngannou became one of the most dangerous fighters in the world, he was a young dreamer from Batié, Cameroon, growing up in extreme poverty with no electricity, no clear path, and no guarantee that life would ever change. But somewhere inside him, there was a dream that refused to die, a dream bigger than his circumstances, a dream bigger than poverty, a dream that would one day carry him across sand mines, deserts, oceans, homelessness, heartbreak, and into history. This is not just the story of a fighter. This is the story of a man who was given almost nothing, but refused to believe that nothing was all he could become. This is the life story of Francis Ngannou. Chapter 1: A Childhood of Poverty. To understand Francis Ngannou's story, you have to go back to a small village in western Cameroon called Batié. Long before the championship belts, long before the sold-out arenas, long before the world knew his name, there was just a young boy growing up in a place where survival was a daily challenge. Francis would later describe this period as the toughest part of his life. Not the brutal training camps, not the fights, not even the dangerous journey that would one day take him across deserts and oceans. His childhood. That was the hardest part. The village where Francis grew up looked very different from the world most of us know today. There was no electricity, no modern conveniences. Many of the homes were built from mud. The floors were dirt. Some rooms didn't even have windows. Poverty wasn't something people talked about. It was simply life. Many nights, Francis went to bed hungry. His family survived on less than $1,000 a year. He often walked barefoot because shoes were a luxury. His clothes were worn and full of holes. At one point, he kept the same toothbrush for more than a decade because there was no money to replace it. Every day was a lesson in making do with whatever you had. And whatever you had wasn't much. When Francis was just 9 years old, he began working in sand mines. While other children dreamed about what they wanted to be when they grew up, Francis spent long days performing exhausting adult manual labor. Armed with nothing more than a shovel, he dug sand from the earth under the scorching African sun. The work was difficult. The work was dangerous. And it was work that most adults would struggle to endure. But Francis had little choice. His family needed every bit of help they could get. School offered little escape. There were times when his parents couldn't afford the fees, notebooks, or supplies he needed to attend class. More than once, he was publicly sent home because there wasn't enough money to pay for his supplies. Imagine being a child, standing in front of your classmates, knowing you want to learn, knowing you want a better future, but being told that your family simply can't afford it. The embarrassment stayed with him, but so did something else: determination. Because even in the middle of all that hardship, Francis refused to stop dreaming. He was a quiet dreamer, living in a world that gave him very few reasons to dream at all. His parents divorced when he was young. He moved between relatives, often feeling alone, often feeling like he didn't belong. Yet somewhere inside him, a different future was beginning to take shape. A future nobody around him could see. A future that seemed impossible. But hardship has a strange way of revealing what a person is made of. The sand mines strengthened more than Francis's body. They strengthened his character. They taught him self-reliance. They taught him discipline. They taught him that if he wanted something, no one was coming to help. He would have to earn it. Years later, when people asked Francis Ngannou how he survived deserts, homelessness, rejection, and impossible odds, the answer had already been written in the sand mines of Cameroon. Because long before he became a champion, life had already been training him. And soon, a young boy known as American Boy would make a decision that would change the course of his life forever. Chapter 2: Discovering a Dream. For many children growing up in poverty, the hardest part isn't the hunger. It isn't the hard work. It isn't even the lack of opportunity. The hardest part is believing that life can be anything different. Because when you've never seen another path, it's difficult to imagine one exists. But Francis Ngannou was different. Even as a young boy living in a mud hut in Batier, there was something inside him that refused to accept the limits of his environment. He was a dreamer. In fact, he gave himself a nickname, American Boy. It may sound unusual now, but for Francis, America represented something much bigger than a place on a map. It represented possibility, opportunity, a life beyond the boundaries of the village where he was born. While many people around him accepted their circumstances, Francis spent his time imagining something greater. He didn't know how, he didn't know when, but he believed there had to be another way. Part of that determination came from what he witnessed growing up. His father was known throughout the area as a feared street fighter. People respected him. Some feared him. But it wasn't the reputation Francis wanted for himself. Instead of following in his father's footsteps, Francis decided he would use that example as a lesson. He would become strong, but he would use that strength differently. He wanted discipline, purpose, respect, not fear. Then, when Francis was just 15 years old, tragedy struck. His father became seriously ill, but the family couldn't afford proper medical care. For months, he suffered at home. There was no hospital treatment, no specialists, no miracle cure. Just a family forced to watch someone they loved slowly fade away. When his father died, Francis was left with a feeling he would never forget: powerlessness. The pain wasn't just losing his father. It was knowing there was nothing he could do to help, nothing he could do to change the outcome. Years later, Francis would say that moment became one of the driving forces behind everything that followed. Francis had discovered someone who would leave a permanent mark on his imagination: Mike Tyson, the heavyweight boxing legend, the knockout artist, the champion. To Francis, Tyson wasn't just a fighter. He was proof. Proof that a person could rise from difficult circumstances and become something extraordinary. Proof that strength could become opportunity. Proof that impossible dreams sometimes come true. The more Francis learned about Tyson, the more convinced he became that boxing was his path. While other children were playing soccer, Francis could often be found practicing punches and kicks by himself. No crowd, no coach, no audience. Just a young boy and a dream. Day after day, year after year, the dream grew stronger. But there was one problem. Dreams are easy. Opportunity is not. Because there were no boxing gyms in Batier, no talent scouts, no easy way to start. And if Francis wanted to chase this dream for real, he would eventually have to leave everything he knew behind. What he didn't realize yet was that pursuing that dream would take him on one of the most dangerous journeys imaginable. A journey across deserts, across borders, across oceans. A journey that would test whether his dream was truly stronger than his fear.